This is a review of the Westone Audio AM Pro X30 in-ear monitors from the point of view of using them for DJing. Now these are curious because on the back of the box it talks about using them in a place of worship when you're a musician in a church, a performer in a church who needs in-ear monitoring but also needs to hear what's going on in the service, what the minister is saying as well. And that is what is different about this particular IEM and why I'm reviewing it today, because they've sent them to us and said, hey, would this be useful for DJing? And I actually think it might be. So here is the lowdown on in-ear monitoring and the way DJs use these. So most DJs will use a pair of headphones when they are DJing, right? You use your headphones plugged into your gear and you have monitor speakers nearby. And the idea is that you put your headphones on to hear what the audience isn't hearing, and the monitor speakers play you what the audience is hearing. And by kind of constructing a one ear on, one ear off, getting the volumes right feel in the DJ booth, you can kind of get this balance where you're getting a sense of what you're about to mix in from your headphones, and the monitor speakers are giving you the input about what the dance floor, which might be quite a way away, is hearing. And the idea is because the speakers are close to you, there's no audio delay, and you're getting the tightness you need for good beat mixing and all that kind of thing. So the thing with in-ear monitors like this is that they give you another choice when it comes to how you beat mix and how you preview your audio with DJ gear in the Pro DJ booth, because these mean that you don't need to ever use the speakers in the DJ booth. And the way it works is like this. You press a button on the DJ gear that does, actually there's two choices. The first choice is what's called mono split. So I've got a Pioneer DJ Opus quad set up here, and on its setup screen there is this little option here, mono split. So what this does is, instead of playing you the audio that you're previewing from the unit in stereo in your headphones, it splits into mono, and then you get on one ear cup on your headphones a mono feed of what you're previewing, and on the other ear cup you get what the audience is hearing. So the other ear cup, the one that gives you what the audience is hearing, is effectively replacing what the speakers would be doing in that DJ booth. And the advantages of that are that you don't have to rely on the speakers in the DJ booth, because they might not be there or they might be rubbish. But also if you're practicing at home, let's say you're practicing at home and it's late at night, right? We've all been there. Then you can actually mix and you can transition and you can do all that stuff totally in your headphones. There's no need for any speakers or anything, right? So a lot of DJs prefer this. In Digital DJ Tips land, our tutors James Hype and Layback Luke both use in-ear monitoring, something similar to what I've got here. Right, so that is kind of the in-ear monitor thing. That is why this is a thing in DJing. But these are a little bit different. Remember what I said at the beginning, that these are sold, read the back of the box, and it's going on about musicians who also need to hear what's going on around them. Because the thing with in-ear monitoring is that if you use popular in-ear monitors, Shure 535s are the ones James used. I use some Shure in-ear monitors as well. They're not active noise cancelling, right? They're not like Apple earbuds, whatever they're called, AirPods. They're not active ear cancelling, they're noise cancelling. They're just very good at noise cancelling because they've got a very tight fit in your ears, which is what you want, and therefore they acoustically keep everything else out, or a lot of what's going on around you out. You put them in, you do your thing, and then you take them out again, and the real world comes pouring in again, right? You're properly isolated from it. Now, if you're James Hype or Layback Luke, you're in a Pro DJ booth, you're doing something that everyone's come paid a lot of money to come and see, and you want to be left alone, that's absolutely great, right? You put them in, you never take them out. You see, the beauty about having headphones like this, if you're a mobile DJ, a wedding DJ, a resident DJ in a club where you know everyone, is that these can go on, they can go off, you can talk to people, you can take requests, you can chat to your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, and then these are only there when you need them, right? Otherwise, you're in the room. If you're a superstar DJ and doing a performance that, as I say, people have paid a lot of money to come and see and you've worked hard on, then you want to be left alone. Then you can put your in-ear monitors in. You're not relying on their gear. You're not having to talk to anyone else. They stay in for your whole performance. Great, right? That's the traditional type of in-ear monitor. And what's different about these is that they are designed so that you can still hear enough of what's going on outside, which is very unusual for in-ear monitors. That's what this passive ambience thing means here. So these actually have a tiny little hole in them. I mean, they give it some weird name, but basically there's a hole in them right there where my thumbs are. And that little hole allows in a little bit of audio. Now you can actually test that if you put them in your ears, and they come with loads and loads of different silicone and memory foam ear, you know, these little bits here, can't remember what they're called, but you know what I mean, that you clip over there. They come earbuds maybe. They come with loads of those. So tips, I think they're called tips, aren't they? And so you pick them, you practice and you find the ones that work for you. There's 5 different sizes of both types, and then you put them in your ears, and you can tell that they have completely isolated noise because you just put your finger over there when they're in your ears, and you can hear that the outside world disappears, and you take your finger off and it comes back. So these have effectively been designed to let a little bit of outside noise in. Now when we teach DJing here at Digital DJ Tips, we say that that is a bad thing. We say that you should get headphones which have got a tight clamp on your ears, and which have got decent cups and which are closed back. And the reason for all of those things is it can cut out outside noise. And the reason we want you to DJ with something that cuts out outside noise is that you don't need to turn them up so loud to hear them properly. It's better for your hearing and so on. So for DJ use, and they're not so good for long-term use because the tight clamping and all that stuff, it can get sweaty and hot and uncomfortable, especially if you wear glasses like me. So, you know, this is a short-term solution for DJs. Like, bang, they're clamping everything out, take them off, they're not, right? That's how we teach it. And so you'd think we wouldn't like headphones like this where, or in this case, in-ear monitors like this, where they're actually designed to let a bit of noise in. But actually we did. And so before I just give you our summary of what I think of this particular model, I'm going to tell you why we did. And it surprised me. So if you are, as I was saying, a DJ that has to talk to the crowd, but you like the idea of in-ear monitoring, you like the idea of not relying on what are frankly sometimes pretty poor speakers in the DJ booth, and you like the idea of just practicing DJing so you can do it in your headphones, in your IEMs or your headphones, but without speakers. In other words, using something like this. And I said actually there's another way of doing this. Most DJ gear also has a knob on it that lets you mix what's coming through the speakers to the audience with what is going on in your headphones. So there's another way of doing it. But ultimately, if you like the idea of doing it all in your headphones, then in-ear monitors become quite a useful way of doing it because you're not having to rely, as I said, on outside speakers. But if you're one of those kind of DJs that does have to talk to people, let's face it, we're not all James Hype or Laid Back Luke. If you're one of those DJs that does need to talk to people or want to talk to people, or you just feel uncomfortable cutting the outside world out. I don't like that. It's why studio headphones tend to be open backed, where this is not a closed piece of plastic, it's just a grill. And they tend to be that way so that you can hear the ambient noise, so that in a studio, you know, let's be quiet and listen to the mix, and you all listen to it, whatever. And then, you know, someone comes in the door behind you, you hear the door move and all that. For longer term listening, having a bit of outside noise is a good thing. So from a DJ point of view, having IEMs like this that do let a bit of outside noise in means that you could probably DJ for longer at home if you're practicing, because you're not worried about anything going on in the room. I don't know about you, but late at night DJing, I do wonder if there's people creeping around. But also letting that outside noise in means that you can talk to people and communicate when you're at your gig, right? So I thought, yeah, actually, I get it. Now, the reason that actually we don't think that this is a bad thing, even though we do say you should cut out outside noise when you're DJing, is that they don't let enough in for it to be a problem. And actually, compared to even the best headphones with the biggest pads and the closed backs and the tightest grip, you know, even those do let some noise in, and these tend to let in about the same amount of noise, I would say. So actually, they are still cutting out enough noise for you to not have them too loud to DJ with. So if you are the kind of DJ that does play places where you have to talk to people, where you have to interact, but also you like the idea of DJing with IEMs, these are pretty unique. And we really like the concept. What about the IEMs though? What about this model? Well, I think they've got 2 or 3 models in this range. They sent us this one, the AM Pro X30. So this is the one that I'm talking to you about. Let's talk about what you get in the box. So you get a little bag. This is the little bag to keep them in. You also get a little box like this, which is interesting, which you could also choose to keep them in if you wish. It's got a little tightener there that opens and closes it. I just took it all the way off there. Whenever I try and demo these things, it never goes smoothly. But anyway, there you go, a little box to keep stuff in as well there with a little fastener. Now, you also get, as I said, all these buds here, and they really are every type. 2 types, silicone and memory foam, and I think there's 5 sizes of each type as well. The actual IEMs themselves are really nicely made. They're see-through plastic with that little bit that lets the noise in, as I said. This is detachable, so you can buy a replacement cable if you wish for it. It's the classic, this bit goes over your ear, right? So you pop them into your ear and then this bit goes over your ear. They stay in really soundly. Once you find the correct tips for you, you're never going to worry about them falling out. They also have a little part on the wire that the idea is you put them on and you use this to tighten them up under your neck or whatever so that they feel even more secure. Now, sound quality wise, I found them really relaxing. They had a very easygoing audio feel. They weren't in any way over bassy or shrill, or they just felt like I could listen to them for a long time, which I really liked. I mean, these are not cheap. These are not cheap IEMs, right? So you'd expect the sound to be good, but that kind of got me. I thought, yeah, compared to the Shure IEMs that I use. And I think, honestly, I think part of that is just the naturalness you feel with a bit of background noise coming in. Talking about background noise, they have not got any way of adjusting how much they let in. So I showed you the little part on the IEM that lets you do that. There's no adjustment. It would have been nice to have that maybe popping out and you can replace it with something that lets a little bit less or more in, or even a little lever that let you adjust that. But anyway, you're stuck with what it's got there. I mean, they, like I say, sound quality wise, they've got 3 drivers in them. That's the 3 in the name, and they do sound great. Now, the cable itself, as you can see, it's kind of spiral braided cable, is really nice. I've got some Shure IEMs, in-ear monitors at home, and I prefer the cable on this to the cable on the Shures. This is kind of bendier. It's kind of got less of its own willpower, and so it kind of just hangs really nicely. When you've got them in, it hangs really nicely and doesn't kind of tangle as much as the Shure one does. I thought it was really nice. I enjoyed it. It's also long enough for DJing. So the thing with DJing is if you're using a pair of headphones like this, then ultimately you want a coiled cable. And the reason you want a coiled cable is if they're plugged into the gear and you're right by the gear, then they're not dragging around your feet, but it does mean you can walk away a bit. With this kind of headphone here, it's not really quite so practical to have a coiled cable because it would be too heavy. It'd be tugging on them and probably pulling them out. The idea is you want a very light cable. Now this cable here, unlike some, is not so short that you would accidentally wander away from the DJ gear and yank it, but it's not so long that it's going to go around your feet. So I think they've kind of got that about right. Now, the important thing with anything like this is audio, isn't it? So I've got some thoughts on this. I tested it in a couple of places. I tested them at home. Now, I have in-ear monitors at home that I use, I'll be honest with you, it won't paint me in glory. I use for a few minutes after dinner at night to get away from the family. I say, right, there we go, dinner's done. I'm just going to go and have a little bit of me time. And I scuttle off, lie on the bed, put my in-ear monitors in, and I just have 10 minutes of music before we all reconvene in the living room to watch something on TV or something. It's kind of my little time for myself, keeps me semi-sane at home. And I like noise cancelling because that means I don't get to hear the kids running around and kicking balls around in the living room and doing all the stuff that kids do after dinner before TV. So actually with these, I wasn't so into them in my personal world because they didn't noise cancel as well as my as the Shure IEMs that I use for that particular purpose. However, that's not why you're going to use these. You're going to use these for DJing. And I tested these for DJing and it was a completely different thing. They are brilliant for that because I've never been comfortable wearing IEMs DJing, even though the benefits are, as I've explained, because I'm not the kind of DJ that gets left alone by people. And frankly, I don't want to be left alone by people. I want to chat. And I found you could do that really easily wearing these. So both at home, where you might want to be DJing without upsetting everyone else, but also hear them when they talk to you. And in venues, when you're playing weddings, when you're playing at parties and your residency or in a local bar or whatever. And you still want to be able to chat to people, you still want to be able to converse, but you do want private monitoring. And you don't want to be taking them in and out all the time, which just makes this kind of monitoring useless. I think these are really nice. As a model, they're well made. As I said, there's a detachable cable, which is good. You get plenty of options for changing the tips to fit you. You get a hard case and a soft case. So they feel professional. I would have no hesitation in recommending these for you if you like the idea of in-ear monitoring, but you do need that ability to hear what's going on outside. If that's been holding you back trying in-ear monitoring, these, the Westone AM Pro X30, might well be the solution for you. So that's our look at these and a little kind of potted idea around how we teach using in-ear monitors against normal headphones and why these might be something different. If you've got any questions about them or you've got any views on this, let us know underneath. But if not, I'll see you in another review very soon. Meanwhile, from me, Phil, here in the studio, get good, get out there, make the moments.